In this video, I'm going to share 7 strategies for getting the most out of your time in the practice room. These strategies come from my 40 plus years of being a musician. This video is for you if you fall into one of two camps. If you're a new player trying to grow your skills on your instrument, or if you're a comeback player trying to get your skills back after not playing very much on your instrument for a few years or even maybe decades. And so I've been both a beginner, and now what I've heard referred to as a comeback player. And these 7 strategies first helped me develop from an eager 11-year-old beginner into a national competitor in my early 20s, and then have a 25-year career in music. And now these strategies are helping me regain my skills after a 15-year break where 5 to 10 minutes a day was the norm for my playing, sometimes more than that, and then other times where I didn't play at all. And not practicing regularly cost me my skills, and my endurance. Now I'm about 2 years back to regular playing, though I'm only averaging 15 minutes to maybe 40 minutes a day most days. It's still a challenge to get my playing in every day, so I'm not fully back where I was. But the great thing is these strategies help me stay on track even with the disruptions. So the first 4 of these strategies work really well together as a group, so you're going to want to hear all of them. And if you want to go to the next level in your playing, I suggest sticking around for the last 3 strategies because they'll help you get there. And note that all of them are excellent practice strategies for any instrumentalist and singers too, though most of the examples I'll share will reflect more of my trumpet background. Okay, so let's dive into the first strategy. My first strategy for you is that you have a routine that you do every time you sit down to practice. This is very helpful because at its simplest, it lets you know what you're going to do when you take your instrument out of its case and start to play. It doesn't leave it up to chance what you'll do in your practice session. A routine can help you consistently focus on specific areas in your playing. Here's what I suggest for your routine. 1. Always start with the same warm-up so you always know what you're going to do first. Pick musical exercises that gently warm up the parts of your body you need for playing your instrument. I play the trumpet, so I have exercises I always do without fail that warm up and limber up my face and my body. The other benefit of a consistent routine is it helps you leave behind whatever you were doing before you picked up your instrument, so you can focus in on what you're doing now, which is playing. 2, in your routine, work on some aspects of your technique. Pick working on your single tonguing and bringing up the speed. Pick working on your finger development. Pick learning scales maybe. Pick whatever makes sense for your instrument and where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. 3rd, in your routine, work on some music, such as a study and/or parts from an ensemble if you play in one. Maybe you're working on a solo. Work on that. Now the question could be, how long should you practice in this routine? Well, it depends on you and it depends on the amount of time you have available. And that brings me to strategy number 2. Okay, so strategy number 2 is that you set a minimum time that you'll aim to practice for each day. For instance, last fall, I aimed to practice a minimum of 20 minutes each day. I could play more, and often I did, but if not, I at least tried to get in 20 minutes. Now this winter, I've adjusted that to 25 minutes. Do I hit it every time? No, I don't. But it incentivizes me to just play for 5 more minutes to get to the 20 minutes, or 25 as it is now. And most of the time I do. Note, if you consistently miss your target, as in you are under the target, adjust it. Make it a bit shorter because you need to have success in this game. So put the bar where you can usually reach it, not where you usually can't reach it. 3rd strategy, fit practicing in where you can. If you can do a complete practice session that is the length of time that you want to play in a day, fantastic. But if you can't, you just can't get her all done in one shot, like I can't usually, then do a little here and a little there throughout your day, whether it's at the beginning of your day, sometime in the middle, or at the end. That will add up to the target time you've set. Doing this is totally fine. In fact, I learned from my trumpet teacher in university that playing in shorter sessions throughout the day can be as beneficial as one long session. It might even be better. Why? Because each time you pick up your horn, it's kind of like a brand new practice session that's building on the one you did earlier. And I personally like taking breaks, shorter ones and sometimes longer, because I'm usually more relaxed when I come back and I pick my trumpet up again for that second or third time in a day. And it makes my playing easier. Strategy number 4. All you need is 5 minutes. Well, okay, that's not exactly the name of this strategy, but let me explain and you'll see. Coming out of the previous strategies, we're going to move it to another level with one of my favorite things to do. In strategy number 1, we talked about intentionally doing different things in your practice sessions. That is, having a routine. Now, I want to suggest that as you're doing that, you set specific time parameters for yourself. That is, little time units, easy ones, for how long you'll work on something. That is, the different parts of your routine. And my suggestion to you is 5 minutes, or increments of 5 minutes. For instance, my practice session usually ends up looking like this. 5 minutes of a gentle warm-up, followed by 5 minutes of exercises to limber up my body a little bit more, bringing my fingering in. 5 minutes of an exercise, moving around my range. It's kind of still warming up. 5 minutes to 15 minutes of technical exercises, developing my fingers or maybe my tonguing or both. 5 to 15 minutes working on band parts for the ensemble I play in, working on a study for my next video. Have you seen the Clodimir series? So there are a couple of great benefits from this approach. One, if all I do is the first 10 to 15 minutes, because that's all the time I have in my day, I've at very least reaffirmed the foundational aspects of my playing. If I have time for more practicing, then I work on other aspects of my playing, my technique, learning the studies, learning my band parts. Aiming to practice 5 or 10 minutes on something is a way of ensuring that you put the time in on the thing you're working on. Ultimately, 5 minutes, well, it's an arbitrary number, but it's also a convenient number for calculating how long I've played in a day. So the strategy, number 4, is set time frames for each part of your practice session. Those 4 strategies will serve you well, but if you want to take things to the next level, you're going to want to hear the next 3, and especially number 7. All right, well, let's take you to the next level. Strategy number 5. Okay, growing our skills and building our endurance are important to do. Learning an instrument, though, isn't something that the vast majority of people do, well, overnight. It takes time, but you can do it if you'll spend the time doing it. So strategy number 5 is to set targets and goals, and in particular, consider these ones. The first one is a little bit like what we've already talked about, but we're going to expand on it. Set time targets. When I started back to regular playing again after my long break from regular playing, just holding the trumpet for any length of time was something I had to get used to all over again. My arms had to get stronger, my back, my embouchure. So I first set the goal to play 10 minutes every day for the first few weeks. Then I bumped it up to 15. Often I did play more, but if I didn't, that was okay. Last fall it was 20, and now I'm at 25 minutes. Doing this helped my brain and my body get used to sitting and playing again. And I was also figuring out where to put it in my daily schedule, because it hadn't been in my daily schedule for years. Not this regular activity. But setting a short time target gently eased me back into playing my trumpet. And my ultimate time goal, just so you know, by the end of this year, is to play 1 hour per day, every day. Next, you could set playing goals. So set a goal to learn a bunch of studies, or a solo, or your ensemble parts. Set technical goals like improving your single tonguing speed, or your finger dexterity, or whatever you're working on and make sense for what you play. Now, ultimately, you could and you maybe should set bigger long-term goals too, but I'm going to leave that topic for another time. Moving on. Strategy number 6 is actually a 2-parter. So in a longer video, I might separate these 2 out, but for our purposes in this shorter video, shorter-ish, I brought them together because they really do work together, I think. So, part 1, practice deliberately. When you're practicing, aim to practice with purpose. This could be zeroing in on a specific tonguing or fingering challenge until you get it, or until you've improved it even a wee bit. And I'll talk more about that in the final strategy. Deliberate playing could also be playing through something you've been working on for a little bit already, but trying it faster, quite a bit faster, to see how it goes. But you do it deliberately and on purpose. When you practice deliberately, you're being really quite specific about how you spend your time. And when you do that, you don't leave your growth, your improvement, up to chance. Part 2. All right, so you've decided what you're going to work on. You've been deliberate about it. So now, when you're actually practicing, be all there. Leave the outside world behind. Focus in on what you're doing. Take your time and pay attention to how you're doing things. Like, listen to the quality, really listen to the quality of the notes you're playing. Aim for good posture and good breathing. Aim to relax. And I actually find I relax more as I go into my practice session. So, part 2 of strategy 6, play mindfully. Altogether, practice deliberately, play mindfully. And now the last strategy brings them all together. Strategy number 7. I started doing this last strategy when I was in high school studying music with a teacher. My teachers, in writing notes out for me for what to practice, gave me this idea. Strategy number 7 is track your practicing. Now, to do this, you can use any notebook, but you want something small enough that you can have handy for writing in as you go along. This is my current one. Now, you may wonder, why track your practicing? Well, I have 6 reasons for you. So here we go. Tracking your practicing will help you maintain your routine. Strategy number 1, have a routine. Tracking your practicing will help you attain your desired minimum practice time for each day. Strategy 2, because you'll note how long you worked on something. And this will really help, especially if you are, as I am, fitting your practicing in where you can. Oh, that's strategy number 3. Tracking your practicing gives you a place to make note of the time segments that you played and then tally them up for your total for the day. Strategy number 4. This helps you see how much you're actually playing in the day. And sometimes I'm not really happy with what I've seen, and other times I'm actually really surprised by what it reveals. Moving on. Your tracking notes let you see your progress towards your targets and your goals. Strategy number 5. From my own experience, this can be really motivating. Seeing even just a little bit of progress shows you that your efforts are paying off, and you want it noted. By noting what you're doing in your tracking book, it can also help you stay on task, which can help you practice deliberately and mindfully. Strategy number 6. Additionally, your book is good for other things. I also use my book to make notes of struggles that I'm having or feeling, and those successes I've alluded to, like finally reaching a practice time goal or that tempo marking that was so distant a month earlier. And the other cool thing is you can look back into earlier days and you can see that what you're really struggling to play at 111 now, barely being able to do, a week or 2 ago, you could only play it at like 90. Tell me you haven't made progress, and you can see it. Building or rebuilding the habit of effective practicing can take a little time, but know that it will get easier, and as you improve, your playing is going to get more comfortable and more fun. And note, none of what I've suggested here is set in stone. Within each of these strategies, there's room to experiment and find what works best for you and your schedule. I also suggest take your time bringing these ideas into what you're already doing. The goal isn't that you're so rigid that you stop having fun. It's the opposite. I've found that these strategies worked in the past for me, and they're again working to help me rebuild my skills. And as I'm doing that, I can tell you my enjoyment of both practicing and playing has grown by leaps and bounds. I'm thrilled to be back playing my instrument. Now, a question for you. Do you do any of these strategies already, or do you have other ones that you'd suggest for us? Please let us know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, please, it would really help the channel if you'd click the like button. And also, consider joining me here by subscribing. That's it for now. If you need a little more encouragement, check out these videos here. Have a great day and keep practicing.